Greetings and salutations everyone, this is No Code Gaming, and I'd like to welcome you back to another Master Duel video. And here we are finally with the 8-axis going second deck I've been working on for about 2 months now. The reason why it's taken so long to get this deck working is it's a lot of ultra rares. Just looking at the screen here, this is about some amount of ultra rares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36 ultra rares, which equates to a lot of crafting points. I know that a lot of these cards like Infinite Imperm and Lightning Storm came in bundles, so take that like 90 or over 1000 crafting points with a grain of salt. But anyways, what is the goal of the deck? Well, it is a going second deck, so basically it's centered around breaking your opponent's boards, and it has the backup to do so with cards like, oh, we have about 5 Kaijus, so that breaks a lot of good boards. We have lots of board breakers like Raigeki, Harpie's Feather Duster, and Lightning Storm, as well as Interrupted Kaiju Slumber as ways to just nuke the field if need be, and we are running the standard 1 Nibiru for all those pesky combo decks. But other than those, what is the goal of the deck? Well, with blind 8-axis going second, the deck is centered around trying to OTK your opponent, or at least control them in such a way that you can set up an OTK later on. So for example, using Alpha, the Master of Beasts, to disrupt their field, and then continuously returning a Kaiju and Alpha back to hand, and slowly waiting until you are able to draw into a Grand Maju de Eiza to try and OTK your opponent. Now, how do we build up Grand Maju? Well, we have Gizmek Orochi, Pot of Desires, as well as 3 more cards in the form of Eater of Millions. These cards allow you to banish in order to get certain effects, and pumping up your Grand Maju as a result. Now, why is this called 8-axis? Well, it has a bunch of level 8s. So we have like all the level 8 Kaijus, several danger level 8s, Gizmek Orochi, and Alpha as our highlight level 8s. The reason why we run so many level 8s is one of our OTKs is actually number 97, going into a Numeron Dragon OTK. So that's pretty standard fare. Originally, this deck was pure XC. However, I decided to change it up as I was having a bit more difficulty playing the pure XC version, and have since translated it to a more Synchro/XZ based. But yeah, the deck itself actually does not have that many combos. You are able to basically be adaptive in your lines of play, and just use whatever's in your hand to try and break your opponent's board, and either stall out until you're able to get an OTK or get the OTK that turn. Basically, the deck is you trying to just screw over your opponents in the best way or worst way possible for them. And with that, let's just take a quick overview of what's included and why it has been included. Eater of Millions, easily special summoned, and it has the ability of once per turn, when this card does battle, you can activate its effect in banishing whatever monster it battles with face down. Please note, you cannot do this with tokens, so if you are attacking a Nibiru token with Eater of Millions, or a adventure token with Eater of Millions, that card will not get banished, so careful there. Sea Diva is our single tuner in this deck. Why are we running tuners? Well, we are running 2 Baronne and 1 Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign. Baronne is a good Omni-Negate. If you've played any modicum of Ranked, you know Baronne is a key card in a lot of synchro decks. However, if you do not want to run 2 Baronnes, you can replace 1 Baronne with I believe it is Sigma, as if you are able to normal summon a Sea Diva, you can special summon another Sea Diva from your deck, and then basically use one of your level 8s to go into Baronne or Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign, And then immediately go into Geo Math Mech Final Sigma. And that's that combo for you. Final Sigma is a good boss monster as long as it's in the extra monster zone, with the caveat of the only way of getting rid of it is with a Kaiju. We have Dinowrestler Pankrotops. It is a good removal card if your opponent has an established board and you do not. Dogoran, the Mad Flame Kaiju, is one of the more powerful Kaijus and is generally summoned on your side if you Kaiju one of your opponent's monsters. And how are you going to Kaiju? Well, we are running two Gameciel and two Gadarla in order to clear your opponent's board if need be. Danger Bigfoot is a good removal card, allowing you to also draw, or if this card is discarded, things like Trade-in will do that. If this card is discarded, you can destroy one monster on the field. Danger Thunderbird is sort of the same as Danger Bigfoot, but it gets a set trap or spell card instead. And next, Gizmek Orochi, one of the key cards in this deck. You will need 3 of this card if you are planning to play this deck, period, with a little bit of leeway depending on if you want to play Gizmek. It's basically one of the better level 8s, as it is generically splashable in a ton of stuff. But anyways, I digress. Gizmek Orochi allows you to special summon it from hand or GY by banishing the top 8 cards of your deck. Be careful with this, as you can mill yourself out. I generally try to limit myself between 2 or 3 Orochi summons per duel, as not to mill myself out, as well as not to take out a ton of my good cards just to get a Orochi on the field. But its other effect is, on your turn, you can banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down and target one face-up monster on the field and destroy it. Next, we have Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This is another disruption card, as it's able to be special summoned if your opponent's total attack of all of their monsters is less than your total attack of all your monsters. So if their total attack is like 6,000 and you're like 5,000, you can actually summon Alpha. And its secondary effect is you can bounce Alpha back to hand and bounce back another monster on your opponent's side of the field, as long as your opponent's total attack power becomes less than yours. Yes, I think. Equal to the number of cards returned to hand. Okay, no. You can only return 1 card. That 1 card is not limited, as long as it's a monster. Yes, okay. Next, Nibiru, the Primal Being. Standard field clear for combo decks. Trade-in. These work well with your danger cards, as it allows you to draw 2 and get some value off the discard. Of Desires. It's here to help fuel Grand Maju, as well as draw you 2 cards. And Infinite Impermanence, always good to have in this deck or meta overall, as is a hand trap that helps disrupt a ton of monster abilities. And with that, let's get on with the extra deck. 1 Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign, basically a field buff for you and a field nerf for your opponents, so good to have against lots of beatdown decks. Number 23, Lancelot, good for spell disruption as well as attacking directly, so if your opponent sets up a really good board that you can't attack over or remove, number 23, Lancelot. A Zombie Vampire, worst name, really good card though. This card allows you to mill the top 4 of each deck and special summon a milled monster from there, as long as that monster can be special summoned. Number 84, Pain Gainer, and 77, the 7 Sins, is here as extra material needed to go into Zeus. So like basically these 2 cards can rank up from any of your rank 8s into a Zeus if you attack that turn as well. Anima is here to work in conjunction with Eater of Millions. One play I like to do is Kaiju one of their big monsters and place the Kaiju in front of the extra monster zone, so then Anima will point to it, so giving you a free Kaiju. The Dark Charmer, always good to have, as dark monsters are probably the most prevalent monster in the game right now, and you do have a ton of dark monsters, particularly Danger, Gizmek Orochi, and I believe Eater of Millions is also dark, so you have plenty of fodder needed for Gloomy. Nightmare Unicorn, always good to spin back an opponent's card, and Access Code Talker as your fail-safe option for destroying the field or going for an OTK. And with that, let's get on with the replays. And here we are with the first replay. Now this is an earlier version of the deck where I was running Triple Tactics Talent instead of Pot of Desires. I eventually came around to getting Pot of Desires as I couldn't get a good Grand Maju play for a while, and when I changed to Pot of Desires, I had like I think a 4 win streak when I was trying to transition from gold to platinum. So yeah, that's why I suggest Pot of Desires if you are running any form of banish payoff, I guess. Surprise. But yeah, let's get on with the replay proper. So this is against Adventure Phantom Knights, so standard Phantom Knights opening. You get them cards. Get into Dracoback the Rideable Dragon. So then Salamangrate. Phantom Boots allows them to get Phantom Knights Brigandine, so best armor. So they continue with the motions. Get a Wandering Griffin Rider on the field. They're gonna keep going. So Adventure goes into Link Spider. They have the 2 cards necessary to get a Verte Anaconda. They activate Verte Anaconda. Get a oldie but a goodie, and that is Phoenix Enforcer. One odd play here is that they popped Phoenix Enforcer and their Verte Anaconda. I don't know why. It was weird. Maybe to probe that I don't have the response. But let's see here. So they have a non-targeting recurable destruction effect and 1 Omni Negates. And I don't know what this face down card is. But let's see if we can break their boards, shall we? So first off, cast Trade-in. Discarding Bigfoot, as with Bigfoot's effect, I can destroy 1 card on the field and draw 2. So luckily I drew a Kaiju, so I Phoenix Enforcer if they don't get rid of it. Danger Bigfoot targeting their Wandering Griffin Rider, so buy Omni Negate. And Kaiju to trade off their Phoenix Enforcer, so buy non-targeting recurable removal. I have now successfully broken the board. Alpha activates, bounce back the Kaiju. So that is 2 summons, and this will be the 3rd. So that's 1 special summon, 2 special summons, 3 special summons, 4 special summons. So I went straight to battle phase to try and play around a Nibiru in hand. Because yes, I can summon Gizmek Orochi, but playing around Nibiru is something you should start doing once you hit gold, so. And I can summon Gizmek Orochi during battle phase, so no love lost there. That's the turn, and of course they have a Nibiru. It's a good thing I played around a Nibiru. And I don't know why, but they put it in attack, and because they activated Nibiru, I can go Triple Tactics Talent to draw 2 more cards for some response next turn. And now they continue off with the combos. So now they are trying to establish a 3 monster board. Yep. That's 2 level 3s to go into Cherubini. Cherubini activates. Pitch a Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. Torn Scales activates. Yeah, Ash Blossom. I don't want them to get more card advantage. It's easier if they don't have cards in hand. And now they have the requisite needed to get into Rusty Bardiche. And Rusty Bardiche searches and sets a Fog Blade. Yeah, and they're gonna keep going. So the issue with Fog Blade is it can only target it can only target effect monsters, which the Primal Being token is not. So Gameciel, Gizmek, Orochi, and let's do it. So they can't really do anything, and it's already targeted for attack, so you can't really negate the attack there. And yeah, that's game. That's Adventure Phantom Knights. Good on you. And now for this replay. So, it should have been a major clue to what I was playing against, as Dragon Maid Icon, Dragon Maid Mate, and Dragon Maid Sleeves. Of course, it's going to be a Dragon Maid deck, and what I love seeing most is playing against a deck you know the ins and outs of, like for 90% of what the deck is supposed to do, so you know what to disrupt. So I Ash Blossom that because I don't want them getting Tidying or a changeover. That's just going to be a headache for everyone. Well, headache for me. And then they go about getting a Striker Dragon. They Dragon Maid Hospitality, Maxx in response to try and get a draw. But they have their own Ash Blossom, so I don't get that free draw. And they now have the 2 requisite cards to go into Verte Anaconda. Verte Anaconda activates, sending a Branded Fusion onto the field. And now Verte Anaconda and Aluber turn into a Mirror Jade. And they set 1 card and pass the turn. This is a very, very easily breakable board. So I have 2 paths. I can go Alpha and bounce them back. However, I don't want Mirror Jade to send an Albion from extra deck so that they could continuously get card advantage. So instead, I'm just going to cast Raigeki, destroy their field, and get a Gizmek Orochi. So Raigeki, wipe the field, and then from here, I'm going to special summon Gizmek Orochi, normal summon Deep Sea Diva. I now have the requisite materials to try and get a Sinister Sovereign. The reason I want Supreme Sovereign. The reason I want Supreme Sovereign is you can avoid the destruction effect of Mirror Jade with Supreme Sovereign. So going into Supreme Sovereign is always good. Not going into Baronne because that's still going to be destroyed, as the trigger of Mirror Jade's effect is on being destroyed or sent to the GY. Additionally, if I had a Final Sigma during this match, I could have also gone to Final Sigma. So basically plan is special summon Orochi, normal summon Deep Sea Diva, Synchro into Supreme Sovereign, and avoid destruction next turn, allowing me to continuously put pressure on my opponents. I might also add, it is disgusting with Sinister Sovereign and using Gizmek Orochi. So disgusting, in fact, that my opponent just surrenders there. But yeah, that was gonna be the play, as hey, you want to avoid destruction when playing against Dragon Maids slash Branded. And the best way to do that is with little Sinister Sovereign, Supreme Sovereign there, not Sinister. God, keep making that mistake. Anyways, that's it for the replays. And yeah, that's the deck in action. As you can see, it's very, very strong going second. And it has a ton of lines of play to disrupt and basically just ruin your opponent's day. If I could suggest anything, if you don't want to run the Banish set, you can also run it in the following form. This now has Fairy Tail Luna as additional disruption. You have a lot more level 8s. And you are yeah, you're no longer a Banish deck. You are now more focused on card per card advantage. The extra deck is now also a bit more heavy on XC, like I said, and that is now more destruction heavy. You can even go harder on this and basically remove all the spell and traps and just run Sekka's Light as well as Sekka herself. So you could run 3 Sekka and 2 seconds light, removing all of the other spell and trap. And then you could fill in these extra 5 slots with more hand traps, like more copies of the Ghost Girls or Graveyard Disruption, what have you. This deck is very much a adaptable deck centered around what current meta you're playing around with. So say you're playing a more graveyard focused meta, you could splash in Dimension Shifters. You are now playing a lot against Flowonderies. You can splash in Imperial Iron Wall and Artifact Lancia. You can even splash in a summon limit, as this deck actually does not special summon all that much. Just don't expect to OTK if you are running summon limit in this instance. And that's it for the video. Like if you like it, subscribe if you so desire, and have a great rest of your day. And remember, have fun, especially when you are breaking your opponent's boards.